Hello and welcome back to SuperCoach Edge. Well, it was a round that had everything. We had the picture of fitness in Zorko the Magnificent weaving his magic against the hapless Tigers. The once highly dumped fishing charter. He hauled in a big catch for a second consecutive week and an upcoming Eagle superstar, putting in arguably his best performance and a goal of the year contender to boot. Liam, you wouldn't read about it.
No, you wouldn't.
Welcome back as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, probably should say, you've been in a
I
little
completely forgot
séjour.
that I hadn't been here.
You've been busy celebrating, no doubt, the Dons being on a massive
that's it. I've actually
run
just been
of
on a
wins.
40-day bender.
For good reason.
That's it.
You've been waiting
Since
for so
Anzac
long.
Day, since we didn't lose Anzac Day. That's been it. No, I've been off with some work stuff. Work's been pretty busy, keeping me from my true work, which is this.
Exactly right. And it's good to have you back as well, by the way.
Thank you. No, thank you. But on Reid, I've just been looking up. Now, he's only played the 9 games. Now, thanks to Sir Swamp Thing on Twitter,
Beauty.
he's just listed out, the fewest career games to collect the set of a Rising Star nomination, Goal of the Round nomination, Mark of the Round nomination, and a perfect 10 in the AFL votes. Now, Harley Reid's done it in 9 games, and so we're talking, GOAT status here, but there's an even better GOAT here, even bigger GOAT. So is Harley Reid actually the new Ben Ronk, who did it in 8 games?
I would say who,
8
but
games.
I do know who he is. He played for the Swans. And he burst on this. Was it
Can
he
you
that burst on
believe
the
it?
scene?
Yeah, he kicked like 6 goals in his first game
Yeah.
or something against Hawthorn or something.
Ben Ronk, what a name.
8 games he did it in, beat out Harley Reid. So, I mean, I think
Thank
that's
God
it.
someone has dethroned him.
Harley Reid can't be called the GOAT anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Right. I actually missed that because I did see the tweet and I just glossed over that name, probably for good reason, because I saw Nick Nat. Nick Nat did it in a few, I think it was double digits, wasn't it?
Yeah, 28. 14, sorry. Bont did it in 28.
Yeah, wow. How about that? Incredible. Ben Ronk, RIP, in a footy sense, of course, but yes.
Oh, bless his soul. But anyway, before we do get stuck into things.
Off the back of me saying RIP in a footy sense, you just gone the next level. Bless his soul.
Anyway, what is he doing now? I think he's in the VFL or something. I
Is
feel like I've seen his name. I feel like I've seen his name somewhere.
Is it? Oh, I just punched my microphone in excitement. Is it Ben?
Ben, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, while you're looking that up, before we do get stuck into the actual things that we need to be talking about,
Yes.
as always, if you're not following us across our socials, you can find us on YouTube by simply searching SuperCoach Edge, and please don't forget to subscribe so that you are notified when our content does drop from week to week, so you can hear this thrilling content about Ben Ronk, our Lord and Savior. Twitter. You'll find us at @supercoach_edge, David at DavidJ88, myself at Liam Evans_95, and Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Search Supercoach Edge, and you'll find us there.
I've just sent you through a photo. I've just searched for people listening and watching. Go to Google, type in Ben Ronk, Ronke. Of course, you should know how it's spelled because he's a superstar. Everyone knows who he is. Have a look at the first photo that pops up. He has been done dirty by Google.
Massively dirty.
Looks like his jaw's contorted, unhinged. And his Wikipedia, I thought it was going to be like a scroll, just unfurling. No, it just mentions that he became the first player to notch up 7 goals and 10 tackles in an AFL match since the introduction of detailed statistics in the VFL AFL in 1987. So Champion Data would have loved that. They would have been pants off territory there.
I have a feeling if we go back to that round 3 game against Hawthorn round 8 game against Hawthorn in 2018 or whenever it was, I have a feeling he kicked like 5 of those goals in the first quarter.
Yes, actually,
it was something like that, and he was the only one to score or something. It was just like he was on fire. I'm now on Instagram. Looks like he's at Aberfeldy, new signing for season 2024. So he's he's a playing co-coach.
Ooh, good on him.
Good on
Gee
him.
whiz. And stalking him on Instagram, we're going a step further here. His most recent photo was put up 25 weeks ago with the caption, "Sun was out." And there he is sitting in the back of a little almost looks like a tinny, but it's not. But it looks like it's been around, probably constructed in the 1970s with his mates and sinking some piss. Interesting. Looks like a Michael Barlow in the boat there. Surely not. Got the rigs out, but sun's out, guns out, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, incredible. Anyway, this isn't the Ben Ronk special Supercoach Edge episode.
This is your life, Ben Ronk.
Well, it's grand final week, and here we are in Melbourne to salute one of AFL's greats.
I'd forgotten all about Ronk, forgot about his 5 goals. Now he's got 6. Oh, that
We're going down a rabbit hole here. Let's stop ourselves short because it's going to blow the episode right out. So people probably want to hear more about that than how our teams went, in fairness. But let's disappoint people. Let's disappoint some people and talk about our team. So I ended up scoring at 2,405. Ranking-wise, I went up 298 spots to now sit 2,482nd overall. So baby steps at the moment, but at least I'm going in the right direction. So should be thankful. But, of course, just recapping what happened. So I was able to salvage something, I must say, after Hinkley ruined my plans of getting in Butters by not recalling Sweet back into the team, stuff things up for a second week in a row. So I instead had to prioritize using my trades to swing Jacko, that is Luke Jackson, from the forward line back to R2 in order to avoid a donut. Of course, notably, I gobbled the donut via the Sweet option last week. And yes, there was no way that I was going to do it for 2 weeks in a row. So I ended up punting Naismith for Fisher via DPP with Jacko, and then brought in the sandwich press Revel in return for Graham from the Suns. And it was a risk in bringing back the old fishing charter after he was a foul pick earlier in the season. But without McKercher, I figured, and like I'd hoped, he actually became a Luke Ryan 2.0, gobbling up chips left, right, and center. So whilst I was unable to grab Butters like I had originally planned, the fish was able to get around his mark score-wise to limit points damage to, I think it was just 11 points lost in the end in comparison to if I was able to get Butters in outright. But now I can finally get Butters in this coming week. And I can say it with confidence because I'm not hinging upon the, Sweet having to be named. So thankful for that. Because Hinkers has absolutely hijacked my trades over the past couple of weeks. And he's no longer going to be doing that. So, but I must say as well, there's a bit of a sliding doors moment. I did dodge a bullet as I did consider Rankin ever so briefly. I could have potentially traded out Sweet for Rankin. That would have left me with around about 40K with the money that I had in the bank already. Or I could have opted for Zorko, which would have been a nice option, but it would have left me with literally, I think it was 1.3K in the bank, which just wasn't enough. So that was the path I went down, opted for the fish, and he delivered yibbity yibbita, gave him a kiss on the lips, threw him back in the water. And yeah, hopefully he can come back and deliver a nice score every single week from here on out, at least until McKercher returns. So, Liam, how did you fare? You're going up the ranks, though.
I'm going up the ranks, 4.7K up the ranks to sit 65,119th. Woo! I'll talk about if these trends continue in a second. But 2,309 was my score. Trades were made early and were kept. I didn't make any changes to the trades. I feel like the last couple of weeks I haven't really, in fairness, been paying as much attention to Supercoach as I probably could have, which ironically is seeing me going up the ranks, which is nice. But I did manage to dodge the bullet of Rankin as well because I was considering him ever so slightly. Thankfully, I did have Sweet, that cover for Sweet after last week when I did throw some magnets around. But in terms of trades, I did trade out Graham, I don't know what his first name is, and Harley Reid, unfortunately. But probably was the percentage play in the end. Probably would have been the percentage play at the time, in fairness. Obviously did not work out that way, but I did trade him to Butters and the toasted sandwich maker himself.
Yes.
He came in. So just talking about it. So actually, in the last 3 weeks, I was sitting, 3 weeks ago, I was sitting about 80,000 overall, now into 65,119, which means that I'm averaging about a jump each week in ranking of about 5,000. It was 4,981 to be exact. So I've just, extrapolated that out, looking at the average. And so if these trends do continue, by round 24, I will be minus 4,615th overall. So all I'm saying is number one's not out of the question.
You're going to be going past number one. That's how well you're going at the moment. So I do like those. We're numbers men here at Supercoach Edge, so we're going to stick by them. And I expect to see you surpass number
rate,
one.
In round 23, I will be 366th. Round 24, we'll see what happens. But
I've been saying it every week. You're bound to catch me and get me back.
Look, at this stage, I'm aiming for top 10K.
Yeah.
Top 10K.
10K, yeah. Yeah, top 10 ... K.
Although, as I said, could be minus 4,615th overall come round 24. So let's see.
Yeah, let's see indeed. Oh God. I must say as well, I had a little bit of luck because you mentioned Reid and I forgot all about Reid. And in a roundabout way, I should probably be thanking Hinkers because he's the reason why I was unable to trade out Reid, because he was in my plans to trade him directly to Butters. And that would have been a bit of a nothing trade. I think I actually would have been in deficit with what Reid scored in comparison to Butters.
I think, was 120 something.
Yeah.
127.
So Hinkley, I'm sorry for taking the piss out of you. You've actually helped me a little bit here. But yeah.
You know what frustrates me most? Had Hawthorn actually won, I feel like Sweet was a definite in.
Yes, 100%.
And now I'm like, no, like they got up.
Yeah. Unchanged team. Like, why would you want to change a good thing type thing? They've been on a winning streak now.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, I don't know. You just feel for Sweet, really. But that was the main thing for me is if I get rid of Sweet, I'm going to be kicking myself if he comes back in round 11 and lose out, because all he needs to really do is play one game and he'll make around about 70K. And that's all we need. And then we can punt him. He can be a donut. I don't care. He'd be very handy for buy coverage, but that's probably asking a bit too much.
And if he makes 70K, he's pretty much up 150K already.
Yeah,
in those two
exactly.
games. Two price changes that he's had. Is it 2 or is it 3?
Yeah, it'd be 2. Yeah, because he's only had the one
it's
so
only
far.
one game. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth holding, especially if you can keep him at R3 for the time being.
Yeah. So we cross our fingers and hope to Lord and Savior Hinkley to bring in Sweet. And
what are you talking about? We pray to our God, Ben Ronk.
Of course, what am I saying? Apologies, Ben Ronk. Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. Need to go into the Ben Ronk confessional and kick 6 snags on the way out. Well, let's recap our head-to-head, Lamb. And of course, you weren't here this time last week, but I did mention I was like, let's see if I can get double digits.
You did.
And I said, you may not return, or you may be returning in style if you ended up getting the win. And I do recall you sent through a message leading into the Sunday games, and you said this might be the week. Or words to that effect.
I was hoping. Didn't notice that Luke Jackson was sitting on the bench with the
emergency
with the E on it, but
yeah,
I was hoping.
Sweet scared tricked you for a second there. You're like, hold on, yep, is he got a game?
I was like,
no.
Seriously, Sweet.
He's gobbling a sweet donut again. Nah, gotcha.
I was playing our father-in-law.
Oh, yes, of course.
Taking the sweet donut. So
did he really?
I think so.
Oh my
Lord! It was
Lord.
definitely playing one player down.
Yeah, gee whiz.
He was playing a player down.
That's incredible. What was he doing? He's bloody taking a leaf out of.
Yeah, it must have been Sweet because he's got Sweet and Naismith on the bench.
Oh no. Oh well. He's taken a hit, and that probably stuffed him in the end. How much did you end up beating him by, just quickly? Was it by a fair margin? Was it the difference of
53 points?
Oh, he'd be kicking himself. But oh well, at least he saved the trade, I guess. Hopefully Sweet comes back for him this week, especially. But anyway, Liam, our head-to-head, I ended up going, I've cracked double digits, 10-0, and the differential is now 1,479. But there's still time, Liam. There's still time. And
Well,
as
as
you
we
crunched the numbers
discussed,
earlier, you are
give me 14
gunning for
weeks.
top one. Yep, exactly. Your team's actually looking pretty good. I had a look earlier, and
It's
like
not
the
actually
forward
that
lines,
bad. Let's be real.
forward lines are shambles, but everyone's is a shambles at the moment anyway. So
Oh, my forward line is
aside from
100%.
that, it's actually looking pretty good. You've been unlucky.
Yeah. I feel like my whole team just can't pull it together in 1 week. That's the issue.
There is time. There is time. You will turn it around. Don't stress. So, Liam,
Anyway,
let's jump now into the segment, of course, that sums up the wider Supercoach round in general with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's kick things off with the good, of course, and it is Lukey Jackson Jacko. So he finally relished the number one ruck mantle without Hodor casting a shadow over him, and he scored a sizable 154 and served that up to patient owners who have stuck fat with him. And I'm surprised there's actually been around about 2% of people that have started to sort of trade him out progressively and like, oh, he's not going to be a top six forward. He's a top six forward. The forward line shit. Keep him in your team. And it's for these moments as well, because surely Hodor, even though he comes back, he's going to get re-injured again. We know what he's like. He's not built like a footballer. He's built like a suburban footballer, and he's about to get injured again, unfortunately for him.
yeah. He's also just got the cover. Like, he's got the ruck cover that you can use. So it's worth holding him, even if he ends up he's going to be a top six forward. But even if he ends up being a top 8 forward, like, just the cover that he provides is going to be useful. But anyway, I don't understand people trading him out.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the bad, and it is Sammy Walsh. And he was disappointing on the weekend against the rampaging Sydney with a score of just 85, courtesy of a tag from James Jordan, which would result in his lowest score for the season to date, unfortunately.
Yeah, he wore him like a bloody blanket, did James Jordan, unfortunately. Next up, we have the ugly, and it's someone we probably haven't put in the ugly for a fair while, if ever, and it is Tom Stewart. So it doesn't seem to be the same Tom Stewart that we've grown to know and love in Supercoach over recent seasons, with another lowly performance of 75 by the once reliable Primo. And for the first time, I think ever, or since we can remember anyway, since stats were invented, Liam, we'll go that far, since Ben Ronk broke that record.
Broke the record books, and we had to start again.
He had to start again just because he ruined everything. But he actually didn't take a mark on the weekend, Tom Stewart. I know it was trying conditions up north, but it's not good signs.
No. I think it was the first time he hasn't taken a mark in a game he wasn't injured in. So a game he played out in full.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just concerning. Like, looking at I literally just pulled up his stats. Not his stats, sorry, his scores. He's only turned up 4 times this year, and only once in the last 3 weeks, and only twice in the last 5 weeks. And their scores of 62, 84, 75, 77 in there. Very un-Tom Stewart-like. So, bit of a concern. But, I mean, there is potential. I mean, like, he's the other side of 30, which is not normally good in Supercoach terms. So, maybe it was something that we should have seen coming.
Yeah, very true. We'll have to, I guess, track him over the coming weeks, leading across into the buys, of course, as well, because he might be someone that we might need to think about shifting on as a bit of a correction trade if things don't look to be improving. The Cats, when's their buy? They got the weird one. They got round 14, which is not a good buy, so might have a little bit of merit in hunting him if you have a spare trade.
Especially at already at 489.2k, so he's lost 146k.
Yeah.
And his break even is 124. So, I mean, achievable, but not what we've seen recently.
No, it's, I mean, I feel bad for those people because his ownership actually dropped from 25% to 20.3% when he got concussed, had the week off. And his ownership has been going up since then, growing to 22.1%, and then on the weekend, 23.7%. So people have been jumping on him, and we spoke of him as well as a bit of a value prospect, but it was on the proviso, of course, that he was going to return to the Tom Stewart that we know and love. So it just hasn't been the case, unfortunately. It is what it is. But Liam, now is the time where we jump into trade talk with The Price is Right.
Show me the money.
The price is wrong, bitch.
For those tuning in for the first time, what are you doing? You should have been here earlier, but anyway.
Yep, you're
The
late.
price is right. Better late than never.
Yeah, it's true.
The price is right is the segment where we discuss potential trades and trade targets from week to week. And sometimes we even chat about whether a specific player should even be traded at all. So we're going to kick off first with going, gone. And these are players that you can move on from your side. First up, we do have Darcy Wilson, mid-forward, 416.7k with a break-even of 76. And he has been one of the most uber-reliable of the on-field cash cows this season to date, averaging 71.7, but now has a break-even of 76, meaning his cash journey is about to dry up unless he can produce another spike score. He's made us 285.9k in profit, another 31.2k on the weekend, if you don't mind, and provides a great platform to jump to a genuine primo. However, if you do have another avenue to a keeper, such as the strength of Wilson's scoring, you could potentially opt to keep him in if you're struggling with other on-field rookie scorers. So, for instance, if you're trading him out and having to field a Garcia or a Revel, I think it's worth holding him for a week. I mean, 76 is achievable as a break even for him. I mean, he scored 75 on the weekend. And just quickly looking at his scores, it would be he's had the 25 against Essendon back in round 3, but otherwise in recent weeks, the last 4 weeks, he hasn't gone below 75.
Pretty good form. And his minutes played as well since round 4 against Richmond, where his first sort of 4 games, he was kind of averaging around about 89, 88 minutes average. And then from then on, it was 118 in every game, 118, 102, 106, 105, 105, 111. So he's kind of got a bit of endurance about him, playing at the speed of senior level, which is good to see. And that's kind of followed with the uptick of, his scoring and, those extra minutes played. But yeah, I think you can probably see both sides of the fence, but it depends really what position you're in with your team. Like with me, for example, I would need to trade out someone like a Sam Darcy or a him, for example. Every other one that I've got, I haven't really made as much cash and, to warrant trading out as yet. So yeah, I can see both sides of it for sure.
Yep, definitely agreed.
Well, next up we have Darcy Jones, the one with the little skull cap, aka the helmeted one, the forward from the Giants, priced at 182.2k with a break even of 59. Of course, he did burst on the scene, but on the weekend he pinged a hammy, which will see him miss at least 3 weeks at this stage until we get the official diagnosis. I don't know which is which, but tomorrow, of course, today, as this episode airs on Tuesday. And he's only made us 58.3k, but given the injury and the buys approaching with the need for cover, there is merit to punting him to one of the hot rookie prospects in Richards from Collingwood, for example. However, there is also tactical merit to keeping him on your bench as a loophole option in order to try and lock in the best scoring rookie in the forward line to try and navigate the, rookie roulette, we'll call it. For me, I probably fall into that latter category. Again, it comes down to your team lineup. I am blessed with being able to go down that route, have Darcy Jones on the bench, put him on field, potentially to loop on a score, say this week, with the Bulldogs playing, the first game against the Swans. I could put Sam Darcy on the bench and loop his score potentially on field, or I could do it likewise with a Joe Richards who plays in the second game against Freo and vice versa, with Revel and a few other guys there. So comes down to tactically what you can do.
Yep, agreed. Now on to the last bloke. It is Nat 5. Mid forward eligible, 357k, break even of 84. Should have been out of your side from the beginning of the year. But anyway, once again, struggled for a score of 63, which did see his price drop a further 41.4k on the weekend, and is looking less and less likely to be a top 6 forward smoky, as some may have hoped. As has been the case all season, he is way too reliant on his handball game, with 19 of his 23 disposals coming via his hand. balls. This limits.
Coming via his balls?
I said his handballs.
Oh, yes, yes.
This limits him from having a high enough ceiling from week to week. I'm out of practice. Most concerningly, having made a profit of 150k at his peak, should have sent me back to the VFL at his peak. That is now halved to 74.5k, and he is bleeding that cash he made very, very quickly. So, yeah.
Plot twist, Liam. This is the VFL.
Oh, send me back to the EDFL.
The VFL reserves.
Oh, the thirds. Send me to the thirds.
The thirds. Yeah, but Fifey, he's interesting because you obviously had him in your team as a bit of a playing cash cow. He's busted out a few nice scores to his credit, but he's almost a bit of a liability now. He's not busting out scores that are any better than, well, they're not as good as a Sam Darcy in recent weeks or a Wilson in recent weeks. So, for example, you could potentially punt a Fife and keep Wilson if you wanted to go down that route. Because there's a little bit of worry now. Yeah, there's more safety there, despite that slightly high break even with Wilson. Like the break even for Fife, 84. What's he averaging? He's not going to be averaging anywhere near that, I imagine. 77.2. So round about the mark. But
if we take out that sub game, like he's only scored above, like he's had 103, 69, 69.
Ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. 102, 81,
Apologies.
89, 119, 17, 60, and 63. So I don't know. It's just like he has those high ceiling games. When I say high ceiling, I mean for someone priced at 357k.
Yeah.
But they're just so few and far between. It's just, I don't think it's worth holding him. Like, I mean, he's due for one based off, he has one every couple of weeks. But I think as the season goes on, he's going to get more tired.
Yep.
People
are starting to jump off now as well. Like his ownership has gone down by 14% since round 8. So people are kind of seeing the signs now. The big one, of course, was the fact that he was the sub, and he's going to be managed, as I said. He's going to be potentially subbed again, starting sub as the season draws out. And as we know, the likelihood of him potentially getting niggles, they're just going to be increased the more game time that he plays. But yeah, he's not going to have those big ceiling scores. And he's priced lower than a Wilson. So
well, that's it. And like if he scores 70, he's going to drop about 6.2k. So he's going to be closer to 350k. If Wilson, goes based off his projections, as I slowly get through the app to get there, if he goes, I mean, they're projecting him for 90, so he gets up 6.5k. But let's say he goes at about 70, like he probably goes down about 6k. Or a bit less, probably at that stage. He might end up at he's still 410, you know what I mean? So I think that relatively, it probably makes more sense to punt 5.
Yep.
I think you're going to lose more cash off 5 than Wilson at this stage.
Looking at the SuperCoach Plus as well, if you do have it, if you click into, say, 5, for example, or Wilson, there's actually compare the pair option, which I'd never used before, but you go in there, you can compare Wilson with Fife. And the other big thing to me is the fact that the ownership for Wilson is 64% compared to Fife, 34%. No doubt that's going to drop further after this week, which says to me there's more security. If you wanted to hold either of these two, I'd be holding Wilson, because obviously if he has a little bit of a down game, it's going to affect you and 64% of the competition compared to Fife, where it's only 34% of the competition. So yeah, you're kind of siding with the majority there that you're not going to be hurt as badly. Sure, there may be, if Fife somehow gets a spike game, you're going to be of more benefit there with the lower ownership. But I think in this case, if you're sort of playing the numbers, I'd be going with Wilson and trading Fife. I mean, he's losing more money now every single week, and he's lost the money that almost half the money that he had. As you mentioned. So, yeah. The only thing that I will say works into his favour, Fife, is he does have that favourable bye.
Yes, that does work in his favour.
So if you want to hold him, I'd probably say hold him until then, and see if you can try and flip him. But even then, to get most benefit out of it, you'd need to hold him across the entire bye period, for coverage. So that means, holding him until round 15, is that viable enough? I don't think it is, considering that he may still have these fluctuations, a couple of low scores back to back, or at least, given the 3-round scoring cycle, if he has 2 of his 3 games as downers, his score is going to plummet. So him playing that role as a cash cow is going to be null and void. Sure, he's put in a few nice scores as a playing cash cow, but with the cash cow side of things, him losing cash isn't a good thing.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, I'm just having a look at defense against position. It's much of a muchness. They play Adelaide. They get the third least points away to wing defense players. Collingwood, I mean, it depends on what you want to classify Fife as, but I mean, across the board, they're not really giving away points to anyone.
No.
So it's not, well, no one that's going to affect, designated kick-in players, yes, but that's not going to help Fife.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just one thing to consider. I think it's much of a muchness overall.
Yeah.
And I think the Fife seems more of a liability, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like, jump off whilst he's still got some cashola to make. The other thing you got to think of is, like, as you were doing there, looking into matchups and stuff, is there a possibility that he can have a spike game off the back of a nice matchup? Probably not, as you've said. And it's more just blind hope than anything. But as I always say, like, if any of these players can afford you to jump up to a nice primo, do it. Because I saw last week, I think someone came in with a question saying, can I get in, if I can get in a Zorko off the back of Fife? And it's like 100% do that. So makes sense. But Liam, let's move on to the next category with get them in. First up, we have that man that I caught on the end of my line with a nice little hook. Zach Fisher, forward defender, 443K he's priced at. And his break-even, is this correct? Break-even of 0? No, break-even, it is, of 0.
It is, it's true. It's insane.
Oh my Lord. I don't think I've seen that in a long, long while. That is quite funny. Interesting. Well, Liam, we asked the question here, are we insane? I can answer that for you because I brought him in. Yes, we are insane.
Yes.
And I implore everyone, I encourage everyone to jump onto the fishing charter with me. It can be rocky, but more often than not, there's going to be seagulls surrounding us, and it's going to be Fisher eating chips out of our hands. So he's gone 95, 140, and 116 in his last 3 games. And with McKercher set to miss due to a hot spot in his foot, he won't have much competition for his spot, at least you'd think, over the next, till after North Melbourne's bye, which will be around 13. So couple more, or at least one more game for him to relish in. And Sheasel, he's moved to the midfield and forward line, means that Fish is getting lots of kick-ins and is absolutely seagulling it up. His 3-round average has him as the 5th best forward and the 7th best defender. Liam, are you tempted? I took a flyer on him because due to Hinkers throwing me a bit of a curveball with the old sweet. But are you tempted now? He went up, 50K or thereabouts on the weekend. Could potentially go up another 46.6K. Sorry, he went up nearly 60K on the weekend and could go up another 46.6K if he can score the projection of 102 against Port. Will you do it? And the other question is, can he be a top 6 forward from here on out?
Yeah, anyone could be a top 6 forward at this rate. Seriously.
Well answered. Well answered.
I mean, I'm just having a look. So who's he playing? Port Adelaide. Positive correlation for wing defenders. Has the old Port, not at the top of the game, but 7th or 5th or so. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
wing defenders. Yeah, for last 5 games.
Yeah, I love that they've added the players so you can actually see their scores.
Yes, how good is it?
But anyway.
Yep. So are you getting him?
Yeah,
do it.
But you know what?
It felt so good watching him pick it up on the weekend. You would have
Oh
seen it
my God.
firsthand as well
I
at the
was
game, of
watching
course.
it. It pissed me off. No end. No end. There was this one stage where I don't know who the player was. It was on just outside 50. Like it was probably 70 out, just on the edge of the square. But North Melbourne players got the ball, and he's like 15 meters inside corridor,
Yeah.
like away from him. And I'm not even joking, like you could hear him.
Star
I was
jumps?
level 2 star jumps, but I could hear him screaming. That's how, like, I was level 2 and I could still hear him screaming for the
Squawking.
ball. Yeah, absolutely squawking for the ball. And he had, I think it was like Guelphy or something, like literally 2 meters to his left. I'm like, this ball, if you kick it to him, is going to get turned. I was like, I want this. I want you to turn the ball over, but like, please do not
please
do it.
do
You're
it.
pissing me off.
Yes.
Like, absolutely. Like, and then they didn't get the kick, and he like continued talking to the player like he should have got the ball.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It
mate,
was free.
seriously. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a passage of play as well where I can't recall who it was for North, got the free kick. As soon as he saw that, he ran around him, sprinted like laterally across from him and was like, again, like, yeah, kick it to me, and ended up getting the ball. I'm like, dude, like, it's such a Luke Ryan thing that he does as well, where someone gets a free kick, he sprints into space, kick it to me. And it's like no advantage kicking across the ground. It's funny, isn't it? But
It is.
he
I
filled me with
think-
joy. I was throwing chips as well, by the way, on the sidelines. I don't know if you saw me, but
There was actually, really funnily enough, I don't know if anyone was at this game. There was just this one solitary seagull actually on the ground
yes,
the
Smith
whole
was
game.
at the game.
It was just weird. Like, it
SuperCoach
was just like this
Titus.
one seagull.
That was Luke Ryan giving
Luke
tips
Ryan didn't go home.
to Fish. And he's like, hey, mate, yeah, keep running. Your teammate gets a free kick.
Bloody hell.
Run into space.
I think I don't know. Like, I've got some different trade options this week. I am considering him. I think I'll bring him in.
Yeah,
But
he's good value for what he can produce. We'll say that. I brought him in just because I was like, well, at the very least, if he goes crap, he's going to make a little bit of money.
yeah,
Calculated risk in that sense.
looking at him just makes me think of that, like, the Simpsons episode where Homer's like, it's like Zach Fisher scoring hundreds makes Homer go something. Like,
Go crazy.
mate, don't mind if I do.
That was
Like,
you.
that's how I feel looking at him and
Yeah.
considering him. Like, anyway,
That's the
yes.
cheat code to SuperCoach we've worked out already with Lukey Ryan the Seagull, Nicky Dacos the Seagull, Nick Martin the Seagull, Sheasel's a bit of a gull at times.
Yeah.
Um,
Jake Lloyd back in the day,
yep,
like
exactly.
the original seagull.
Exactly. Add fish to the menu. And prefer him grilled, not fried, and away you go.
That's it.
That's
That's
very
it.
nice.
But anyway, let's move on. I do. Yeah, I'm considering him. Let's move on to the next guy. It is Tom Green, and he is an absolute bargain courtesy of his score of 5 when he was subbed out with an ankle injury. So his break even is 71, and he is priced at 487.5k. So he's
bargain.
currently averaging 105.9. But if we do take into consideration that score of 5 and we take it out, hunt it away, he jumps up to an average of 117.1, which would make him which would have him averaging as the 10th best mid. So
Oh, wow.
at 487.5k, you were getting an absolute bargain. And the fact that he has that huge ceiling on top of that, if you haven't got him, get him in for 487.5k, please.
That's around the mark, like just comparing the pair or comparing the other list of mids that are averaging around about the 117 mark. We've got Flanders, who's of course DBP, but he's priced at 599. Dane Zorko 616, Trelaw 633, Dunkley 629, who's even less than that. He's averaging 113. So put that into perspective. Compare those two price points. Incredible value. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. Anyway, let's move on to another guy that was involved in a crazy game. Dan Houston, defender, 578.6k, break even of 97 heading into this week. And he finally unleashed with a huge ceiling score on the weekend of 148 in that comeback win over the Hawks. Heartbreaking for Hawks fans, of course. But that all came, that score, courtesy of 22 disposals, 8 marks, 10 tackles, and 3 big goals. Has been reliable enough for a high floor, with his first 7 games being tons, but it is these lack of big ceiling games he was most noted for in 2023 that seem to really be missing from his arsenal this season, with only 2 other games at 120 plus. Regardless, though, he is currently, believe it or not, the 4th best scoring defender, and one that is reliable enough to have in your team, especially if you're going for league, cash leagues, head-to-head games, all that sort of stuff. Love those guys that have a high floor. So I don't have him in my team, but I've actually earmarked him potentially as someone that might be a bit of a luxury trade-in via Tom Stewart. Of course, has the favourable buy, of course, Port Adelaide, or going for a Hayden Young in that case, of course, Freo, again, favourable buy. But do like Houston. Thoughts with him, Liam?
No, rate it. Absolutely rate it. Luxury trade. If you need a D, whatever. D6, D whatever you've got left. Like, I'd be doing the upgrade to him. I don't mind it. Top 4 defender. And I think a luxury upgrade eventually from a Tom Stewart. He'd be the one that I'd be eyeing off personally. How crazy was that game though? Like,
I can't believe how they've lost it. It was almost like the
the unlosable game.
Yeah, it was almost like in cricket where there's a lot of match fixing and stuff. It was almost like it was that, like, just incredible stuff. It made no sense as to how that happened.
I was watching it at mum and dad's, and mum is not a football fan. So she comes in and she's like, "Oh, it's close." And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty close." And she's like, "Oh, but it's over, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Oh, probably." Yeah. And then Billy Viola kicks his goal, and then it's like 26 seconds left. It's a ball up.
Lee Matthews rule?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then she's like, no, they can't do it. Surely not. There's only 26 seconds. And I'm like, you're probably right. But if it goes forward, you never know.
Yeah.
And then it went forward. And then I think, who was it? Someone, I think it was like in Amon. Was it him? He got the ball.
Yeah.
And I handballed it out. And I'm like, nah, it's done. This is done. And then I don't barrack for Port. I don't barrack for Hawthorn. Don't really care about either side. Yeah. When Darcy Byrne-Jones kicked that like off the ground, I was in the air. I was like, oh my God. Like,
I can't believe it.
Oh, but yes. Anyway, get Dan Houston in. Rate him.
Yep. Get him in.
Let's move on. Matt Rao. He's in my side. Mid-eligible, 566.5K, break-even of 116. After 2 low weeks of being tagged to scores of just 65 and 83, Rao bounced back in style with a 128 in pig in trough-like conditions up in the north against the Cats. He has flashed his huge ceiling across the season with scores of 137, 155, 129, 135, 126, and 136 in 6 of his first 7 games, and didn't need a heap of the ball in order to rack up SuperCoach points, such as the quality of his contested work and knack for tackling, with 5 double-figured games of 10, 12, 13, 12, and 10 tackles. Considering Rao was priced at nearly 90k more expensive only 4 weeks ago, underlines how much value pick he is at his current price point. He was on track for a massive score as well. He slowed up in the last quarter particularly, but still a very good score of 128 on the weekend for Matty Rao.
Yep, absolute gun. And I'm so tempted to bring him in over Butters, but Butters has been in my sights for so long. And I know if I go down this route of not going for Butters, it's going to come back to bite me in the ass in some way, shape, or form. But at that price point, just as you said, so much value. So much value. Let's move on to the next guy, and it is your boy, Zachariah. Or is it Zachary? We still don't know. Merritt, you still need to slide into his DMs and ask. Midfielder.
No, I have. I've just been blocked.
I have.
Surprisingly.
So you'll never know the answer unless you meet him at family day.
I'm going to go, I'll have my little sign.
With your little trading card. Excuse me, Zach. Or is it Zachariah or is it Zachary? Just if voice changes. And he's like, ah!
He's like, it's him.
Can you sign this, please, sir? Anyway, Merritt, he's priced at 608.5k, break even, sizable, 157. And
Get
he
him
really
in.
hasn't lived up to expectations against North on the weekend with just a score of 94, but did attract close attention from Liam Shields, so can be excused to some extent. I was going to say attracted close attention from Liam, Liam Evans, that is you,
Sliding
no
into his
doubt.
DMs.
That would have made sense as well. But this round, he faces arguably one of the juiciest matchups in Richmond, who concede the fourth most points to elite opposition mids, and they actually seem to be conceding more and more each week. Looking at previous top line mids and how they scored against Richmond, we have Butters 175, Steele 142, Heaney 148, Sarong 137, Bont 135, Treloar 153, and Neil 162 on the weekend. And the other thing as well, Parrish, he's been ruled out with a calf complaint again, Liam, the poor bloke. So he has more of the pie to gorge himself on. If you are in the market for merit, he's at an incredible price in a game that he could explode. But will he, Liam? Will he?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yes.
Get him in?
Get him in. I'm honestly, it's between him and Fisher.
Yep.
And I want Fisher because he's going to be 50K more expensive next week, I reckon, or 40K more expensive next week. And Merritt probably drops in cash enough, but I can still see him scoring big. Like I could see him making his break even this week. There's me no tag, and I mean, I'm just going to go based off his last few scores against the Tigers. And his last two scores against the Tigers. 162.
Oh.
150.
Oh, geez. Pants are off.
His last four, there's a 102, I think, in there, the one before that. And then his last 5 games against the Tigers, 162, 102, 150, 137, and 143.
Oh.
So that's what I mean. There's every chance that he absolutely
goes bananas.
Yeah. So that's where I'm almost like it's worth it just to get him in. They're not going to tag him.
No.
I don't know what the weather's like on what it's meant to be on its dream time. That was that 162, I think I said, or whatever it was, 150 or whatever it was, was from last year on dream time. Saturday is no rain, so should be good conditions for him.
Well, very nice. Well, I'm just happy that I've got him, and this is the game I've been waiting for, really, against Richmond. He scored well enough against, who was it previously? Was it Hawthorn? It may have been. Oh, West Coast, sorry, West Coast. He started slow, came good, kicked 2 to 3 goals. So that was good. But this game, like, as you say, he's got that history behind him himself in previous encounters. These top line mids that we spoke about previously this year that have absolutely annihilated Richmond, all the signs are there that if he doesn't score well, it's going to be an utter disappointment. But like you say, your situation could be similar to what I was in on the weekend. I was unable to get Butters, so I went for Fisher. Fisher at least scored relatively close to Butters, so I wasn't losing out, but could work into your favour, as you say here. Butters went up in price, but with merit, he'll most likely not be able to reach that break even. At the very least, he's not really going to drop rise in price. He's going to stay around about that price point, you'd think.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I like it.
So yes, that's one to consider. On to the next guy. It is Zach Butters, mid-eligible, 639.1k with a break-even of 95. He scored a 127 against the Hawks and was a key cog in the thrilling comeback win by the Power. He wasn't looking too good at one stage either. He was quite low, and I was pulling my hair out.
Yeah, and I was like, yes, I've gone for the fish over the Butters, and it's worked out a treat.
He scored 117 plus in 8 of his 10 games, with his lowest scores being 82 and 98, whilst enjoying a high of 175. Currently ranked as the 3rd best mid and faces a struggling North Melbourne, who he scored 139 against in his most recent encounter. Priced basically at his starting price, he presents as a very juicy primo to aim for. I like it. I like it a lot. Get him in.
Get him in indeed. And that is exactly what I'm doing, is the missing cog. So I'm looking forward to bringing him in. To round us out here in this category, Dane Zorko or Zane Dorko, mid forward, 616k, break even of 78. And he busted at a massive 161. against Richmond on the weekend in an absolute walkover, and he did as he pleased, really racking up the peel with incredible freedom, even pushed forward, and I think he kicked a goal from memory as well. And whilst he went up 50.7k on the weekend, there is a fair chance he will go up even more with the Hawks up next on the menu for the Lions. No doubting he will be a top 6 forward, ... provided he can remain fit, as we constantly warn whenever we discuss this bloke. Surely he's going to, maybe this is the season where he's actually just totally fine. It's happened with Butters in the past, we're kind of worried about Butters. Maybe he's just, he's had that elixir, that potion of, health and vitality. And maybe.
He's found the fountain of youth.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's drank from it.
I don't know. I'm not loving it.
No.
Only because of his price, like 16k for a forward. I don't like it. He's obviously scoring incredibly. And a break even 78, so he's going to be going up. But I don't know. I struggle to pay that much for him when I could be getting a Fisher in this week. I know, and I feel like I've just said that after I said I'd get Merritt in for 608k. And that is only slightly less than Dane Zorko.
But I agree.
It's the difference. It's the difference in their roles, or the positions in the field. Like Dane Zorko should finish as a top forward. I don't know what he's currently ranked at. I'm having a look.
With Merritt, like I said the exact same thing. Like if I was to get Zorko, I would have done it last week when he was around about that, 580 odd, whereabouts it was. But yeah, it's a different kettle of fish now. And I think even though he's not going to hit those lows again, because the main reason being was that game that he was shifted forward or whatever, and he's gonna stick around that role. I don't think anyone's going to dethrone him. So yeah, it's just for me again. I'm just counting on him potentially getting rested or something coming up. So I've always said that he's going to be my last trade in or my last upgrade. Let's see how long that lasts. But yeah, I get you. I want to go for those midfielders that bust out those big scores. I don't know. It's just more. It's weird, isn't it? It's more reliability with it, I think.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, like if you don't have Zach Fisher, I'd be going for Zach Fisher because he's cheaper, and you might as well get the value now. There's every chance that Zorko, comes down in price a little bit in a few weeks, and then you can afford him at a much cheaper price, and it works out for you. So yeah, I'm just wary of spending 16k on a forward at this stage.
Yeah,
when I've got other options.
It's a good point with Fisher as well. With jumping on him, if he's able to bust out, tons, or scores like he did on the weekend, 116, whilst he's making money to help bridge that gap, because if Fisher doesn't end up being a keeper, that's fine. You've got to kind of expect that with McKercher returning at some stage. At least Fisher's going to make a bit of money, bridge that gap to bring you close to someone like a Zorko down the track. So there is benefit with that and going down that route. So I like it. It's good thinking.
That's it. Now let's move on to the bubble. And first up, we do have Joe Richards, forward eligible, 123.9k with a break even of -95. Looks to be the choice rookie this week with a break that, I don't know, super low break even. That great break even. Has scores of 107 and 60 in his 2 games, which does show he has some very decent scoring potential. Job security obviously is this concern, though Mitchell looks set to miss another week, at least, with I think it's a plantar fascia injury. So don't know how long what his return will be. Perhaps he isn't likely to be on the list of outs this week, so hopefully he's able to stick around for another couple, because if he plays this week, he's projected to score, I think, about 50-odd, 60-odd, something like that. He will go up 65k alone this week.
His job security as well. I'm just having a look here. So Hoskin Elliott actually injured himself as well on the weekend. Low-grade hamstring, and they've said that's going to rule him out until the King's birthday.
Okay, so it's another 2 weeks. Yeah.
Recent news that's just come out about De Goey, and no surprise, I was totally expecting this to happen because he's got osteitis pubis by the sounds of it. He's had a flare-up with that groin, so he's in serious doubt to play this week as well. So there's guys going down left, right and centre for the Pies. Bodes well for the likes
Sullivan
of
as well.
Sullivan as well.
Mm.
Yep. And Reef McGuinness as well will miss this weekend because he was concussed. So yeah, you'd think that Joe Richards will keep his spot in the side. Who's the other guy? Jamie Elliott. He's out for a fair while as well. I think he had a vascular issue related to his back. So interesting times there. But I am supremely confident with Joe Richards.
Yeah, that's fair. That changes things. Get him in. Good cash cow.
Get him in, and will be very, very handy across the buys, most importantly as well. The other guy to look at and consider is Joel Frazier or Frazier. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to call it Frazier, like as in Frazier. You know the old TV show? I referenced it in my my Team Talk video, and a lot of young people that tune in will have no idea what it is. Kelsey Grammer, you know, the old tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Quite stylish.
Maybe
you
I
seem a bit confused, but maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I've
But
got you pegged.
pegged.
Yeah, that's the intro.
What are your thoughts on Frasier as a show?
I'm glad that you know it, first and foremost. Secondly,
I just wanted you to keep singing the song. That was.
Oh, okay. I just know it because my stepdad used to watch it relentlessly. He used to love it. His favorite show. I know the characters. Never watched an episode.
You can watch it on 10 Peach. Currently, it is on.
Actually, it came back, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was
I think
like
they did a reboot, I think.
Yeah, reboot. And he's looking like he's every bit his age. I think he's around about 75 or something, thereabouts. And he actually redid the intro song. So it's him like singing the song. The whole origin doesn't make any sense because he's talking about tossed salad and scrambled eggs and him getting egg all over his face. Yes, I don't know where they came up with that idea. Anyway, Joel Frazier. So he's entered the building. Another reference there to the theme song. He scored 63 and 64 in his first two games and has extended job security on the weekend, fleetingly, with Johannesson out of the side. Injured and Richard, of course. Richard's being pushed up into the engine room. And whilst his scoring is decent enough, the question is whether he can remain in the Dogs' side longer term. It's Bevo we're talking about here, a side coached by Bevo. Can we have any confidence in him? And I've seen some people asking questions about, you know, doing a double downgrade with Joe Richards and Frazier. I don't know.
Nah.
I wouldn't do it personally.
No.
Joe Richards is 100% yes. I wouldn't go. I'd opt to pay a little bit more money and go for someone that's gone up in price.
Yeah,
over
like
the weekend, like a Rebel.
Revel or even a Sullivan.
Yep, Sullivan.
I'd rather those two.
McAuliffe,
yeah. I'd rather one of them.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't mind the discussion on him. But for those that want to take a flyer, yeah, go ahead, make your day.
Talking about Frazier, just to bring it back to a Simpsons reference.
Yes.
I just love the fact that obviously Kelsey Grammer plays Sideshow Bob. And when Sideshow Bob, you know, his brother comes to town, old Cecil.
Oh, Cecil, yes.
They got the guy that plays his brother in
in Frasier.
Yeah. Good. I love it.
That's next level. That's meta. That's meta. That's a very good reference.
Love that. So yeah. We should be calling Frasier Sideshow Bob, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sideshow Bob. Good old Bob. Good old Bobbus. Anyway.
Damon.
Liam, yes, it is time. The next segment, of course, we all know what's coming. And we have made the call out for people to send in their own rendition of this segment, which is I Am the Captain Now. But this week, we haven't had anyone pass in their own rendition. So the good people, the good folk, Liam,
Those people.
Those people.
You people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Huh?
You people of the SuperCoach Edge community, they've passed the baton back to us as it is our turn to take back the mantle and announce, Liam, I'm the captain.
Now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Still going. You're still going. Sorry, I cut you off then. The microphone couldn't even pick up the small decibels there at the end.
Oh, that was it.
Ooh, just the trail. It was
just my lungs running out of air. Yes, and I'm the captain now. Come on. Also, guys, please send it through on Discord. Send us your renditions because, you know, more creative than what we can be.
Yeah.
But any case, in I'm the Captain Now, we chat about what VC and C options you've got for the upcoming round of Supercoach. As always, we scrounge through the data and find the top options for you to consider. And first up, we have the Bont, Le Bont, on, I guess, Thursday night against Sydney. He averages 115.3 against the Swans in all his matches and comes into the match with 2 of his last 3 scores being 135 plus. Is a nice early option for your VC.
Tough matchup against the Swans, but yeah, you've got to look at that. His recent form, as you say there, not too bad.
Sydney are not giving away many points to opposition inside mids, which could hurt him. But I mean, trends can be bucked.
Yep, exactly. And next up we have Heaney up against the Dogs. So he averages 90.9 against the Dogs with a high score of 131, but hasn't scored 125 plus in his last 5 rounds. So maybe one to miss. Not in the realm of captaincy territory, really. Warner as well. He actually eclipsed him on the weekend. Warner looks to be potentially, we always spoke about Warner as the next sort of breakout option. Tom Green, Errol.
Tom, Errol. Yep, next.
Yep, he's moving into that territory.
On the way.
So he's putting a little bit of heat under Heaney. He's stealing some of his points, so on and so forth. But Heaney, we thought we'd throw him up just in case you're lacking any other options if you don't own them.
Yep. Next up, we do have our friend Lukey Ryan, Seagull. He plays the Pies and has an average of 92.6 against them, but is averaging 105.75 against them in his last 4 matchups. So there is a bit of positive uptick. In other positive news, Collingwood give away the 3rd most points to opposition designated kick-in takers. So just having a quick look at recent weeks of players that might be of note. Andrew McGrath, he scored 123 against them. Nick Martin scored 113 against them. Houston 119 against them. Nick Newman 144.
Wow.
So there is potential for a big score there, and also give away. I mean, they don't really give away many points to general defenders, but not really. It's kind of a neutral point, so that's not too bad.
Yep.
So consider him.
Don't mind the old Seagull. Slim Shady. Next up, we have Dacos against Freo, of course, in that same match. Averages 97.5 against the Dockers from 2 games for scores of 130 and 65. Bit of a mixed bag. But comes into this match with 4 of his last 5 scores being over 125. Of course, the 125 being the lock and load VC score. So might be someone to jump on. Has looked good. On the weekend, he was smashing it early and just kind of hit a brick wall, really. I think disposal efficiency was potentially off. A few other things as well, but only ended up scoring, was it 105? So yeah, but yeah, he is someone to look at 100%.
Yeah, Freo don't give away many points to defend to mids though. So could be a risk. I think if you're going for one player in there, I'd go Ryan. If you've got him in that game. Moving on to my choice, Zach Merritt up against Richmond. Do it. Get on him. Averages 106.8 against the Tigers with his last 4 scores against them, reading 162, 102, 150, 137, and 143. Big score coming up, in my opinion.
Yep. I totally agree there. We also have Butters up against North. So he averages 88.2 against the Roos. But no, you saw Merritt and you jumped, and I don't blame you because that's exactly what I'll be doing, I think. But Butters, he averages 88.2 against the Roos, but his last 3 games against them read 139, 104, 98. Comes into the game with a 3-round average of 132.7. Though beware, because North have been tagging with Will Phillips on rail and Liam Shields on Zach Merritt on the weekend, as we saw. So might be one to avoid. Don't know if Rosie's going to be making a return as yet, but I was surprised as well that on the weekend without Rosie being there. I know they've got Horn Francis, but Butters is the man. And I thought Nash would have run with him the entire game. And I think things were made us removed and whatever. But yeah, just to me, he seems like the most impactful player, which as we saw late in the game, incredible work by Butters. So yeah, fair sort of warning with that. Don't mind the matchup, but
it's just more risk, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know when they play exactly to know whether if you could potentially
Middle
VC.
of the fourth game in,
Okay, so you could probably
Saturday.
VC.
Yep. And sorry, can I just mention as well, just quickly looking at the fixture, I am sick to death of the AFL. This is the third week running, probably more because maybe I missed it, but they've got two games running at the exact same time on Saturday at 1:45. Carlton, Gold Coast, North, Port. Are they trying to hide like North Melbourne's games by playing their game at the same time as Carlton, Gold Coast? Like, I'll be at the Carlton game, so it doesn't really bother me. But if it was a neutral game, I am a big fan of like just switching back and forth. Like one game goes into like the quarter break, I'll switch across. Just ridiculous stuff. I don't know what they're thinking.
Especially when
Like just stagger the games.
But also, like, I think when you play a game in Perth on a Friday night starting at 8:10, you have the opportunity to play a game in before that.
Yep.
Like, even start the free, like, as 8:10 would be 6:10 in West Coast. So start that game a little bit later. Start it at, 8:30 Melbourne time, which then becomes 6:30 their time. And you can almost start, I know it's North and Port Adelaide, so you probably don't want to watch it, but you could choose another game and play that in that time slot and put, anyway. But apparently they've got some Canadian IT expert group to do the fixture. I think that's caused.
Oh my God.
Because there's some really weird things that have happened, I reckon, with the fixture. And it looks like I thought it was just certain teams, but it looks like it's across multiple teams.
Good to see they've outsourced it to
they've done it,
a place in the world that has no idea about time zones here and the game.
Because you're right, stagger it. Make it, even if you do play that game at the same time, stagger it by half an hour. So that, you go into the end of the quarter and you can turn on the other game and be watching it.
Yeah. It's just.
And switch over.
Stupid. But anyway, where were we? Sorry, I got distracted then. Gawn. Yeah, Gawn.
Maxi Gawn up against the Saints, averages 114.4 against the Saints, though his recent scores against them may scare a few off with an 84 and 82 in the last 2 years. Before that, the 2 years before that, he did go 137 and 135 though. I think is a nice.
Did you have a look? Have you seen the matchups at St Kilda? They give away a shit ton to opposition rocks. Yep.
That is good. That is good intel.
So, it's if you have a look at DFS Australia, it's a fair amount. It's a fair amount. If you have a look as well, previous matchups for them.
So Luke Jackson.
There's Jackson, Meek, Cherry, and English. Fantasy, I would have to look at the SuperCoach because it only shows fantasy points here on DFS Australia, but gives a little bit of perspective. But Jackson, what he scored on the weekend, 150 odd, 154. Then there was Meek,
who scored 125.
So Cherry ended up scoring 133, which was his second highest score for the year.
And English scored 134, which is his third highest score, I think, for this year.
Yeah, well, so big matchup, big favorable matchup. Although it is it's not the last game of the round. At least we always say a bit wary about putting the captaincy, and saw it on the weekend as well, putting the captaincy on Gawn the last game of the round. Geez, it gave the heebie-jeebies to me.
And potentially, sorry, yes, continue.
Oh, it's just a second last game of the round. Yeah,
weird. I don't know why. But like looking at it, I mean, if you've got a Livingston, you could potentially VC Merritt if you've got him and then go into Gawn.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, if you've got a Livingston, there is potential for you to go VC Merritt into C Gawn, which would probably be my tip if you could do it.
Yep, I do like it. Well, with that, Liam, let's just recap our head-to-head. And we were waiting for your captaincy selection on the weekend. The old Hedwig didn't arrive with your.
Well, I actually
your captaincy.
I picked. Who did I pick off memory?
You went for Gawny.
No, I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I went for. I'm pretty sure I went for Chad Warner, who scored 172. Yeah, just.
I see. Magic. Maybe you got someone else's Hedwig.
I did go back scored.
Well, I of course went for the seagull, Ryan, with the first choice. I couldn't look elsewhere,
No,
but
that's fair.
so Ryan 122, Eclipse the Gawns 109. And believe it or not, so that takes me. I've pegged one back, Liam. Your
Oh.
5 wins to my 4, but with that point difference between Ryan's 122 and Gawns 109, the differential overall is back to just 1. So you got 1 win, 1 point in front. Jeez, it's a
It's
humdinger,
tight.
this one, a ring
It's
dinger.
tight.
But I think you've got the first choice this week, considering that I had the first choice last week with Ryan. I can probably guess who you're going to go for, and I wouldn't blame you. Are you going for that? Well, it depends if you're naming him as a Zachariah or Zachary.
I was thinking more like just, Ben Ronk, but
He was available 100%. 100%.
no, see, to me, it's between Merritt. Now you've really shown me Gorn, and I'm thinking Gorn could be a good option. Nah, I'm going Merritt. I'm gonna back in the old Zachariah.
Good work. I'd be going for the good old Zachariah as well. Even though he's got a bloody protection order out against you, so you're not allowed within game day of him. So I'm surprised you were there at the game on the weekend, because they would have had your name.
I just have to stay
your face plastered up.
at least 100 meters away from him, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, so at least you can still be on the. What about when the ball's like, if you're in the front row of
Like a
section,
force field, I just get thrown back.
the ball gets pushed out of bounds, and he's got the ball and he runs out of bounds. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Well, especially when I'm on the boundary line and he sees my face, he just takes off, so it's okay. He runs away from me.
And from his opponent as well, so it works well. Extra
That's
burst of
it.
speed, like Nos. But surely they've got like your face up on the plastered up on the entry point of every stadium. But do you go into like the stadium with like a fake moustache, like Mr. Burns saying, "No, I'm Mr. Scrub"? That's you.
Yes, precisely.
I'm Mr. Scrub.
That being said, whenever I go into the stadium, anywhere, I always get randomly selected. So I don't know what bad vibes I'm giving. But maybe it is. Maybe it's just because they do have that photo of me and they realize
Maybe it's the truth of that rumor.
Yeah. Actually do have a sign waiting for me outside.
Yeah.
Explains it now.
We'll never know. Well, Liam, it is time, because we threw the old fishing line out on good old X/Twitter for some questions. And we've had quite a few coming in. Even last week we had quite a few. And shall we kick it off? It is that segment, Liam, of course, where we answer your questions in I Gots to Know.
Hey, I got to know.
Sorry, just quickly. Did you pick your captaincy option?
Oh, actually, no, sorry, I didn't. Did I?
I don't think you did. Because I've been waiting to write it down.
Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead. Sorry, I should have assumed that it was Gorny. Miso Gorny.
I thought it was Gore, but I was like, I'm just going to
Yeah.
wait, make sure you say it.
Everyone tuning in is probably like, well, who is he going for? There we go. Max Gorn. I'm going for not Maximilian. I'm going for the Maxi Gorn. Yeah. And you're going for the Zachariah. Maybe then we can work out as to Zach's real first name. And this is the battle between the two guys.
That we've just named ourselves.
Exactly. So I reckon Zach's going to put into a Zachariah type performance, which is biblical proportions.
Oh,
You like that? Good reference.
Yeah,
I know
love
nothing
that.
about the Bible or religion, but I'll claim that.
I'm assuming there's a Zachariah in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And is there a Maximilian? I probably should read it someday. But no, there's going to be a Maxi. Surely there's a Maxi 416 or something. Thou shall.
Yes, there is a Maximilian in the Bible. I just Googled it. He's a soldier.
That's the villain. That's the villain. What are they doing? They've stuffed up.
He was. I don't know. I'm trying to read this real quick. Just reading the Bible real quick for you guys.
Okay. I don't know how many pages in the Bible, but make it quick.
I don't think he was an. No, it doesn't look like he was a villain.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any sort of negative spin, is there, on the Bible? I don't know. I should read it. Not that I ever
Anyway,
want to.
moving
Anyway,
on.
it is I got to know Lamb. So
Yes.
the first question from the top down, or should we go from the bottom up? Let's go from the bottom up because that was the most sort of the first one that was sent in
Oh
by
my God.
Steve, who follows our content. You know,
Wasn't
scroll down. There's
prepared.
quite a few. Exactly. Steve with the blue tick at Stephen C24. One of the more, I guess, I won't say palatable, but one of the more sane Collingwood supporters, he's a good bloke, is Steve. He asked the question, how long can you hold Sweet at R3 if he continues to not be selected? -69, and he puts in brackets, not us. Don't blame us. Don't write negative reviews, one of which we might read out at another stage. Ding, ding, because we only just stumbled upon it, but he says ding, ding. So apologies, we didn't put a disclaimer at the start of the episode. So -69 break even, but 244K sitting on the bench going to waste. So how long do we hold him? I think we hold him as long as up until Soldo returns, there's hope that he'll play a game. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think at least another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'd give him at least. I think it's probably week to week I'd be considering it. Because if there comes a point where that cash is more useful to you, then maybe it is worth it. But just keep in mind that he needs to basically just go on field to make cash. Just needs to be named. Just need to play, just be named as the sub to make cash. So keep that in mind.
Yep, totally agree. And I think at this point of the season as well, like it's no secret that cash cows and quality cash cows at that tend to dry up.
Yeah.
So if you're getting in rookies, hoping that they'll play, 3+ games to make a bit of bank, bit of a risk there compared to Sweet. Hold him, plays one game, could make 70 odd K. And go from there. Next up, we have Owen Melly at Owen_Melly826 asks, Fisher or Sexton trade in? Who would you go for, Liam?
Fisher.
Yep. Fisher straight up for me. Got the role. Sexton, a little bit of a worry there, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sold on his job security.
No. Spot on. Totally agree there. Mitch at Mitchakos1, one of the regulars here. Is Tom Stewart a top 15 defender? I want him out of my side so badly. I love how he's extended it out to top 15. Very, very nice of you to do that, Mitch.
What is he cut? Like, what actually is he?
I think he's like 33. Top
wow.
33. But because he got that concussion game,
injury.
remember as well. But even if it's 33 because I spoke about it on the Team Talk video. But even if he had played that game, I still think he'll hover around about the 20-25 mark, which again is nowhere near the top 6 of what we need. So
if we go based off average, which still hurts him because he's got that game, it's 24. So I'm just going to do some quick maths. I think he's a luxury trade. I don't think he's a trade out yet, unless you've got excess trades.
Yeah.
Because when did he get concussed?
It was a couple of weeks ago, was it? From memory?
Round 6.
No, sorry, round 6 he got concussed, missed round 7.
So like if we just take out that one score of 62.
98.25 would be his average.
Like 98, that puts him down to Hayden Young, 17th overall for average.
Yeah, shit, okay.
So 17th, 18th. Like he's not, it's still not helping, not even top 10, not even top 15, and that's generous.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that says a bit. Yeah.
Just quickly as well, what you were saying with regards to don't trade him yet. He's a luxury trade because still the priority is getting those rookies off field, even though he's punching out, rookie type scores at the moment. He's still semi-reliable-ish compared to those rookies that can.
It's more reliable.
Jump.
Yeah. And I think he's got the ability to score well. So it's better than a rookie whose max might be that 70 compared to Stewart, who could pump out 100.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next question. It is from Smart Swans Supercoach at Smart_Swans. Who is the best defender trade-in, if any? I already have Dacos, Houston, Young, Whitfield, Fisher, and Sexton, and I can't afford Ryan. Not Tom Stewart. Is there anything I'll say there?
Wanganeen,
who's left?
potentially.
Yeah, that's a good option.
He's actually come good, I must say. He was in my sights of being a bit of a luxury sideways or upgrade. In recent weeks, he's actually busted out 115, 113, and 112. So, and the good thing about him is you have a look at his fixture, his run of Marvel games after the bye,
Mm.
which is 15, is their bye, round 16 to round 24. They have every single game at Marvel bar one. That's an incredible run. Incredible.
This is what I'm talking about, this weird fixture.
Mm. So
Um, yeah, I don't
under
mind
the
that.
old tin roof. So he's potentially one. Not that I'd really endorse him, but you've already got those other sort of big guns.
You want a pod, a
Um,
couple of pods that look to be not going too badly. Um, Andrew McGrath, 100, 531K, 3.2% of teams. He's only had one really poor score of, I think, 68. All the rest have been mid
does he,
80s or higher.
does he not have Nick Martin?
Nick
You didn't
Martin would
mention
be, no, he
him.
didn't. Nick Martin would probably be the one. The
He'd be
only
the
thing
top,
I'm
I
worried
reckon.
about with Nick Martin, though, is that Ridley comes back this week and we just don't know what that's going to do to the
Ooh,
team.
very good
So
point.
that's my only concern. I'd hold off if you were going to get Martin. You've got a few, like Whitfield to be a pod.
Yep.
Fisher is pod-like. I think he'll be a bit different this week. Houston, I don't know what his ownership is. Young would be a pod as well, you'd expect at this stage. There'd be a lot of
Mm,
dead teams with him. Nick Newman, another option potentially. He's averaging
yeah.
103. Jordan Clark, weirdly, averaging 103 as well.
Yeah.
Um,
McGovern,
yeah,
even though I don't trust his
McGovern,
body, but
yeah.
he's actually the fifth best averaging defender at the moment, believe it or not.
Oh, Houston's 17.3, so not super low. There's a lot of pod options actually.
Yeah. There we go.
Um,
Yeah, Jack Sinclair again
mm,
scored a 110 if you wanted to go down that path, but I don't know, it just gives him the heebie-jeebies.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but hopefully
I
that
think
helps
it's
him.
hard. Yeah, Ryan would be if you can I'd be looking to try and get Ryan somehow. I mean, his break even's high this round off memory.
Just wait for Ryan. He's
So
gonna
it could be one to
some way.
wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, break even of 164 surely comes down.
Mm, yep. Exactly. Yeah, wait. Try and find some way to get Ryan in and upgrade elsewhere. Next up we have Tim Sander at tsand99. He asks Zorko or Fisher if you had to grab one. Did we no, that's a different one.
Fisher.
Fisher, yeah, we spoke about like value v forking out some
Mm,
extra coin. I can see merit in both, but yeah, I do like Fisher, provided he can keep this role and maintain this scoring.
mm. Which I think in the last few weeks we've seen him maintain the scoring
Yeah,
enough. So I think it's worth it.
yeah. Well, I
Um,
opted for Fisher instead of Zorko.
you
In
opted.
turn,
Yeah.
keep because I had a chance of trading out Sweet in order to get Zorko, but I was
Yeah.
like, no, I'll keep Sweet and bring in Fisher. Took the
Mm,
flyer and yeah, saved a bit of coin up my sleeve in the hope that he can be somewhat of a top six forward or thereabouts, or an upgrade option down the track. Let's round things out with the last question by the Bishop, regular as well, at Bishop's Balls, and that's the reason why I know he is a regular. Classic handle. He asks, running very low on trades. Can we hold Rankin?
3
Can we hold
weeks
Rankin? Mm,
is set to miss for.
yeah, it's a bit hard because it means you're relying upon
Depends on
rookies
your
that we
side.
don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you brought in a Revel potentially, can swing him to the forward line, you might be able to use him. If you can, I mean, when do Adelaide play? Because you might be able to use him as a bit of a loophole option as well, at the very least. But you'd have to do it
They play
obviously
the
across
last game.
3 weeks. Oh,
They play the last game this week.
Uh, yeah, okay. Well, you could use him as a loophole then. That bodes well. Sorry. Um, but yeah, you'd have to
Um,
rely upon like, Richards, like Joe Richards, Revel.
yeah.
Um,
One of those weeks that he misses is well, he misses. Oh, hang on, sorry. Round 9. So we're in round. Where are we? Round 10. So he's going to miss round 11. He'll then miss round 12. Round 13, will miss as well.
Yep.
Then round 14,
You'll miss. Oh, well.
no, he plays.
Yep. And then round 15.
Round
is their
15, he's
bye.
got the bye. So you just wonder whether they also hold him out until then.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
give him the extra week rather than bring him back before the bye.
Yeah.
Oof, I don't know.
So it might
I'd
be a
wait to probably
trade.
get I'd wait to get more detail because all I'm seeing on the AFL website, which was 9 hours ago, is that from who is it? Nathan Van Berlo, assistant coach, said
Oh, yeah.
Rankin is likely to miss around 3 weeks. So I'd like to hear a more definitive answer.
Yeah, and I think that came off the back of he was saying like he missed it with a hamstring last year, and that was the timeline that he had. So he's kind of like guesstimating, I think,
Yeah,
that's the timeline they're gonna take with him.
I reckon 3 weeks is your borderline.
Yeah,
If you're running low on trades, maybe it's worth holding him just because you are running low. I think
Yeah.
he comes back and he's a top 6 forward from then.
could he potentially trade a Rankin down to Fisher and net himself
Bank the cash.
109K? And then by the time that Rankin returns, Fisher will be hopefully up around about that 500K mark.
And
And
swap back.
if he needs to swap back, or could potentially have a keeper in Fisher
Yeah.
and then trade another guy to bring Rankin back in. Obviously means that you're wasting a trade to do it.
Yeah, don't mind it. That's probably the way I'd go if you were to trade someone. I'd probably go to a Fisher.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. Very nice. Well, Liam, that brings us to the end of the show. But before we go, where can our listeners and viewers find us across our socials?
Yep, on YouTube, search Supercoach Edge, and don't forget to like and subscribe. On Twitter, search at Supercoach_Edge, Damon at DamonJ88, myself at Liam Evans_95, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Search Supercoach Edge, and that is where we will be.
Geez, Liam, you do that seamlessly. And for those people that tuned in last week, you would have heard me. I struggled with it. And I did say, geez, Liam, I need you back. I need you back quick. Because I stuffed up the intro and the outro. And both times I said, Liam, you make it look so easy. So it's a pleasure to have you back on that note.
Being a pro.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
which
VFL
I am
level
not.
here. Not VFL level here.
Of which I am not a pro at reading through. And I stumbled over yours as well. So I was saying like maybe you gotta change your handle again.
Again.
Just change it to LE95. That's it. LE95.
It's just 95. That's all it is.
Pretty sure that would be taken. But yeah, you can give it a
Never
go.
know. Oh,
Yeah.
God. I'll just talk to Elon now, old mate. He'll be
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh no, don't mention
like
that name
Liam,
around
yeah,
these
of course.
parts.
Of course you can, Liam. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of your show.
Big fan of the Edge. Supercoach Edge.
That reminds me, have you seen on his platform, X as it's called, what's the name of that cartoon?
Cyanide and Happiness or something?
That's the one. That's the one. I saw that I don't know if you saw it, but he tweeted using one of the cartoons and got rid of like the little copyright attribution on the cartoon itself.
Yeah.
And the creator was like, I could technically take him to court and sue him. They're like, my God, you really want to sue Elon? Like the mere mention of Elon on our channel, we drew some fire, Liam. We were
almost
copying
got
left,
sued.
right, and center. We almost got sued by the fan boys and girls
By the
of Elon.
bots.
Yeah, but they were just bots. They're not even real people. Not even real people. But anyway, Liam, it's a pleasure to have you back as always. So please don't go missing again. And good to see you donning the red and black there, and you're just reveling. And good to see you've recovered from your 2-week bender. And I totally understand. Well, with that, Liam, that does round us out for round 10. So best of luck to those of you tuning in for round 11. Likewise to you, Liam, because as you mentioned, round 24.
I'm not even worried. I'm not even worried anymore. Having
Exactly.
looked at the stats. It's just clear run in.
Yeah,
Don't have to do
clear
anything.
run. you're heading to the negatives. So may your trades hit the mark and your scores head towards the moon. We'll catch you next week.
See you guys.